I wasn't surprised in the feedback to the last episode that some people were a little bit disappointed in the direction that this series took in the last episode. I had talked about it numerous times already. The initial plan of keeping the team competitive, having to go back on that as it just wasn't working out for us within the first 3 seasons, and then knowing that we had the opportunity to get a number 1 overall pick via trade. So I wasn't disappointed when I went overboard, or I wasn't surprised that people were disappointed when I went overboard with that. Overboard, to say the least. What I was surprised by is the amount of positivity from others who said, you know what, yeah, screw it, go for it, it's more fun. I haven't taken advantage of the AI in that way in a long time. And even then, in the way that we acquired the picks to take advantage of the AI, we did that in a fair way. So, yeah, it's a little bit cheap to have ended up with all the players that we ended up with, but what set the stage for that was everything that happened before and what wasn't considered cheap. So, it's a very weird situation that we find ourselves in, but regardless, we are on this new path. If you are continuing down the road with me, I do thank you for that. And for those who aren't, well, they're lost, perhaps, because I do have a feeling that this is about to really pick up. Now, I've had fun with this series regardless, but needless to say, the course, the main goal now, has changed. It's not about trying to win with William Karlsson and Jonathan Marchessault. It's a new era here in Vegas, and we'll see what this team looks like heading in to this next season. Goaltending-wise, we'll have to wait and see as far as how everything shapes up here. Of course, Dirksen, Gervais, Chouinard, and Leonov, we'll see what they inevitably become. Defensively, Eric Bronstrom is going to need a new deal. We'll try to get a slight discount for him, but nothing too crazy. 1.6 over the next 2 years. Eric Branson we took back in a trade, so obviously he'll be gone. Rosinen and Wiley are interesting ones where I'm not quite sure if I want to bring them back yet. It really depends on who else is let go. So Robin Salo is obviously gone. Bickle as a low 4. We'll look to bring him back. Ruinen will obviously be released. That's pretty straightforward. And Scott Walford as well. So with all of these lows and mediums, I mean, someone like Rasanen and Wyatt Wiley would make the AHL squad that much better, but their ceiling is incredibly low, where it might make more sense to bring in some of these 20-year-olds to fill out the AHL roster and to hopefully have them develop. So Rasanen and Wyatt Wiley, I may have at least given them an opportunity to make another squad now that they had the time to at least develop through the AHL with us. Henry at a medium 9. Medium 9's a little bit different. I'm willing to bring him back. He's not looking for too crazy of a deal either, so I'm good with that. Luke Glendening, who we had to sign to fill out the roster, he's out of here. Ludwig Elvenes. Lucas Elvenes. I always want to say Ludwig. I don't know why. Novikov. He's a 61 at 21. Probably not going to pan out, but we'll still sign him to his ELC. And then, of course, Russell Clausen is going to be signed. Pretty much, the top 3 are going to be signed. Greer was a 4th-round pick. Lackey was the other big one we got with the 2nd pick. It was really his AHL stats, or not AHL stats, his junior stats, that really won me over. 121 points last year. Left wing wise, Jason Robertson. We'll look to bring him back. He's not looking for that expensive of a deal at all. Johan Larsson will be dropped. Datsuk will probably hold off on. Davidson will be dropped. It really is a new era here with the amount of players that we are letting go of. And then at center, here we go. This is where it gets to be interesting, and this is where we get to rely on ye old calculator app. Because, so Cody Glass wants his first big-time contract. We'll see if we can get the 85% trick to work. We'll drop this down to 4.7. Technically, we could go lower, but that would be a solid deal for us. Nick Suzuki as well, looking for a decent contract. If we can knock that down to 3.8, that would be a bit of a steal for us, I'd say. Ryan Carpenter, has been a great fourth-line option for me, or for us in general, over the past few years. He wants to re-sign, so I'm not sure if the 85% trick will work, to be honest. I'm willing to go 1 year. Let's go 1 year, 1.1 mil. We'll see if he accepts that. Cody Eakin as well hasn't necessarily been terrible. It's kind of a tough call with Eakin. Carpenter last year, how did Eakin do? I don't even remember. 19 points, yes. Cody Eakin fell off a little bit. In the playoffs, not much in terms of the history that we've seen here. So we had 19 points last year, where Ryan Carpenter at least hit 20 yet again. So I think we're finally going to drop Cody Eakin. I might look at bringing him back maybe. But considering we have to sign guys like Stelio, who will give him a half-decent deal, Dylan Dubé, we'll also look to bring back to see if he can take that next step forward. Give him a 1 year deal. Jones at a medium bottom 6, he's pretty much capped out, so we'll go ahead and drop him. Ruzicka at a low 9, same thing for him and Milos Roman. Don't think they're going to pan out. Pretty much consider that a medium bottom 6. We'll go ahead and drop them, and Jake Lesishin will be on the way out as well. Fedorov needs a contract. We'll sign him up. Boqvist, obviously, on the way out as well. And from there, we're good for the moment. There are obviously numerous other players that we have as unsigned that will be sent contract offers. Carpenter's back. Bickle signs. Robertson. Suzuki. Is there anybody who's going to decline? Cody Glass is the first and potentially the only. And indeed he is. So Cody Glass is the only one to have declined. Right. We drop that down, if I'm not mistaken, to like a 4.7. Let's go to like a 4.9 just to try and save a little bit more. In terms of all expiring, he is the only one left. So right now, we're at 29 contracts, and that number stays the same even if we sign Cody Glass, because technically he's still here, and indeed he is signed. So we have a lot of moves to make. Obviously, I want to take a look, and I was just reminded that Alex Tuck is still on this team. That's another guy who we were considering trading. I forgot about the scouts. Whoops. You know what? I could restart the episode because of that. I'm not going to. I'll accept that punishment there for completely forgetting. It's still one of those kind of new things. It's not muscle memory at this point. We'll look to bring these guys back. So in terms of scouts, we need an NHL scout. We need an AHL scout. We need, so let's see, an NHL, an AHL, a WHL, a USA. I mean, we're going to have to completely rework our scouting department here. So there is a top-notch European scout in Mats Franzen. We'll see if we can get him. The WHL scout in Chapman. That's pretty much the go-to here, of course. It's just outright signing the best scouts available. Sontag, perhaps. Many different ways I've seen people be like, pronounce it this way. In terms of who's better, we're going to go with Reese Takashi in terms of being a more reliable NHL scout. So that would be 4. We need 2 others. We need a USA scout and another European scout, if I'm not mistaken. This guy can't do anything Euro-wise. He's okay. US Central, but not quite what we're looking for. And then Sena, also not quite what we're looking for. So for the B grades, there are quite a few. Let's check Brent Lowe, who we had before. Yeah, we'll definitely look to bring him back. And then Samuelson or Yakupov. I think we might probably go Samuelson. Yeah, he's pretty well-rounded. So we'll bring in Samuelson as well if all goes according to plan. And we will be up to the 20 scout limit yet again. So the big question here is what the free agent list happens to be looking like right now. Of course, we still have some players that we are eligible to move. Holy shit, Johnny Gaudreau. First and foremost, goaltending, because that's of the utmost importance to us right now. And unfortunately, there's no one on the list here that's going to be more than a stopgap. It's going to be pretty much a 1-2 punch, a tandem with Malcolm Subban. UC Saros is a possibility. How did he do last year? Oof. All right, so UC Saros has really struggled. He has really struggled throughout this run. Wish I didn't have to check here, but Bernier, Grubauer, Reimer, Corey Schneider, Thomas Greiss, Aaron Dell, Kincaid, Pekarine's there, Luongo at 43. That's insane. That Roberto Luongo is still there. Holy hell. Number one, I want to look for two ways. And that's what I wanted to check, is whether or not there were any unsigned goalies out of the draft. And there were three. Nash, Helmerson, who we know how good he is, and Jaguar. So Gilbert Jaguar, I'm guessing. I doubt it would be Gilbert. Could be. 912 save percentage in the Q. It's not bad. And then Caden Nash had a 911 in the AHL last year. Damn, so we have some unsigned goaltenders, but I am somewhat intrigued at how good either of those two may prove to be. And the fact that there's a team interested in Jaguar has me questioning whether or not we should send him an offer as well. Let me double check the goaltending situation here. As we have Subban and Kalpainen and Havlat as well. So we need 2-3 goalies max. We at least need 2. So I think we could send out an offer for both of those younger goalies just to see what they are. And then, hopefully get lucky on that front, since we know how good Helmerson is. I think I'm going to do that. No guarantees we get them both, but we'll send an offer out to Nash and Jaguar. Jaguar would have to pick us over Calgary. And then for an NHL option, we might as well go relatively cheap. And if anything, it's a complete toss-up here. I'm tempted to go with Roberto Luongo just for the fact that he's still in the league, which is pretty cool. You know what? That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to send Roberto Luongo an offer at 43 years old. We'll give him $2 million, and he can be the 1-2 punch with Malcolm Subban while we continue to try and figure out what goaltender in the system is eventually going to be the guy for us. Defensively is where it gets interesting. Now, I do want to attempt the same thing and see if there are any prospects. And there's one. It's Gertzen. He is the only one. Let's see. Taylor Gertzen. Where did you play? Extraliga. I'm willing to give it a shot. Now, again, 925, more indicative potentially of his starting overall and how much he views that he's worth. And that's not to say that some of the other 20-year-olds or 19-year-olds aren't worth signing, but 925, looking for that max two-way option, is a good indication of them having a higher overall. It's just whether or not the potential matches to boot. So, defensively, it's a little bit of a rough situation here, right? Because we do still have Roman Josi. With the way this team is set up right now, we could very easily be contenders next year as well, outside of having questionable goaltending. We have $61 million in space. And while Theodore, Haig, and Bronstrom, Jetwu as well are all NHL caliber defensemen, there's no guarantees that Norton's going to be there. There's a decent chance of it. So we need one, maybe two other potential starters. And I'd say to play it safe, we need at least one guy who's ready to go. We need another starter. So, and in fairness, we already ditched Josi. That's right, we retraded Josi. That's what it was. It was reacquiring Josi and then trading Josi. Because I looked at the comments again before I recorded this, and people are like, well, why'd you get Josi back? And it's like, well, to trade him. And then, yeah, that's what we did. We ended up trading him. So, we're good on that front. So, in the system, who do we have? We have a lot of guys currently unsigned. Right. We are going to need some depth as well. Is there anyone who makes all the sense in the world to sign? Bobrovsky for sure. And then there was Hutainen. I don't think any of them are going to be good to go, though. So we're going to have Norton, but I don't think we want to rush Eklund. So, in terms of a big money move, Seth Jones is there. Who else was there among defensemen? Seth Jones, Ristolainen, Morgan Riley, PK, but he's 33, so I'm a little bit questionable about that. Ryan Murray, I doubt, ended up being that good. So really any of the big three here between Jones, Risto, and Riley. Riley's looking for the least amount of money among the three. Has 30 and 40 point seasons, actually even a 50 point season in there. What about Risto? 40s and 50s, about the same. And then Seth Jones, 40s and 50s. I don't really think we can go wrong necessarily. It's just, do we want to send out another kind of big money offer alongside Seth Jones when there's a decent chance of me trading one of these defensemen later on? Because we're obviously going to need to take up some of the cap. That's the issue right now, is how much of this team do we want to turn over to the youth when we do still need to fill out some contracts? Of course, I'm not against handing out the max level deal, but bringing in guys like, then again, Mantha, Forsberg, Goodrow, that's just way too much money. There's no way. There's no way any of them can live up to that. 70 points and the Mantha, yeah, absolutely not. So really, I'm not against just kind of turning things over to the youth from the looks of it. I just want to double check to see if there are any younger options, and indeed there are. We have two, Langlois, who we know how good he is, and Gagne. So he's not going to be that great either. So it makes you wonder about the guys that we sent out offers to already. It's kind of worth the risk just to see if it'll pan out with them. I'm not really expecting it to, but we could get lucky on that front just to see if it's worth it. I'm thinking for the most part here, we fill out the roster with our unsigned players. So let's look to do that rather than sending out any more big money moves. Now, the thing here is technically I could override those free agent signings by sending out offers here, but Leonov is the only one that we could sign, which is unfortunate. And then there's no guarantees that like Luongo would sign. So, because I don't want to risk it, we'll leave that as is. Defensively, we currently have 7 there. I think just 8 in total. We would normally look for about 14 or 15. So let's see who we can sign. We need 6 to 7 of these guys to be signed, and we might as well go for the massive group of 20-year-olds here. So that would be the 9th defenseman, 10 there with Lindbergh, 11 with Kolzig, and Platt would be the 12th. So we need 2 to 3 more guys here, and of course that's where we're going to look to bring in the top options in terms of former first-round picks. Bobrovsky, Katainen, and potentially one other. So Bobrovsky, sign you up. I think I said Kutainen. We'll go with Hutainen. And one other. Christie is American. Whoa, what the hell? That was really weird. Christie's American, Swedish, and American. Right. You know what? I think we're good for now. We're good for now. If I have to do any other defensive contracts, it'll be a veteran on a boatload of money just to fill out the roster. And then forward-wise, Jesus, so that is 8 in total with Stelio. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 there. Whoops. Then in the system, based off of contracts, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Now, normally we'd want about 26 to 27. So, yeah, we need to sign more people. That is quite evidence. So, first things first, the 20-year-olds. So, Datsuk and Nilstorp. Go ahead and sign them up. It's going to be very interesting to see how this roster shapes up. From there, we need some top-notch players. So Perron is American. Rizzi is Swiss. Actually, let's see. Who do we know for sure? So Goldobin and Greer will definitely sign because we know they're looking pretty damn good. So we'll sign these two up. And yeah, again, we're definitely going to have to bring in some veterans to take up some of this cap space. Marvin Mason is Norwegian. Sign him up as well. The AHL is going to be ridiculous. Just ridiculous. Is there anybody else who is a high-end draft pick that I am missing? I don't believe so. So we'll leave it as is for now. Although, in terms of a big-time signing, we pretty much know what we want to do. Let's look for a veteran defenseman. Dion Phaneuf works. Dion Phaneuf works. Let's go ahead and give him that max deal. He's just here to take up, a little bit of salary. He's literally going to sit and do nothing all season. And we'll also hand a bit of money to, let's go to David Backes. Why not? Let's hand a ton of money to one David Backes as well. We'll start off with that. I might have to send out another big money move for another forward as well. Again, $61 million in cap space. So we'll see what happens here, not only with the players, but with the scouts as well. So far, so good in the scouting department. Very good in the scouting department. So Nash signed, Gertzen signed, Jaguar as well. Not bad. Let's see what else here. Dion Phaneuf obviously signed, as did David Backes and Roberto Luongo. So we're looking good. Whether or not we should have gone after Seth Jones or whomever else, debatable for sure. I mean, Risto and Morgan Riley are still there. And that's still a possibility, but we are at 46 contracts. We have $23 million in space. So we are going to need another big-time contract on the forward side, since defensively we're pretty much set up. And let's go for Louis. I know, actually, Ryan Reeves is there. We'll go for Ryan Reeves. Why not? Let's bring him back to Vegas. Give him a big money deal. Let him sit in the press box pretty much all season as our way of cap circumvention. And we'll figure it out from there once we get to the preseason. So, overall, again, a couple of options on whether or not we wanted to bring in any other players, but we've done that, and it hasn't worked. So why not solely focus on the development of some of our younger players? And by some of our younger players, I mean basically all of our younger players. I would be shocked if we didn't have the lowest average age in the league. And you can still look back at guys like Shea Theodore, like Alex Tuck, that could be moved out this season, especially if the return is solid. But if we also see that we have quite a few prospects as well that might not be getting the ice time that they deserve, I'm not against necessarily tanking this season. I mean, it's about figuring out who we have, potentials and overalls, and who's worth moving. We're going to get pretty serious about this, as the prospect factory is certainly taking shape. If we're not, there's really only two modes for us when we play franchise: going all out or the prospect factory. Right now, we are into prospect factory mode. After trying to go all out, didn't quite work. We are definitely in a different phase at this point in time. And in fairness, I didn't want to go to that specific section. Let me go to trade player or proposed trade before we get the team set up. So goaltending-wise, we have 6 signed, I do believe. Indeed, we do. We'll see what we have with Nash and Jaguar. Roberto Luongo and Malcolm Subban will be the 1-2 punch. We still have Dirksen, Leonov, and Gervais Chouinard in the system. Defensively, so we have our 9 there with Platt, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 defensemen signed. It's normally 1 too many, but that's not that bad, because really it's Dion Phaneuf. So really we're fine there on that front. And then forward-wise, again, it's so weird that it's 9, but 9 with Dubé, 18 with Kostitsyn. Right, so we're at 22. So we do need a couple more forwards signed. So we have 3 roster spots left. Let's go ahead and bring in a little bit more forward depth. And that menu lag gets me sometimes. Let's go ahead and bring people in from within the system already. So let's see, who do we have here? In terms of who is worth signing, we do have a 20-year-old in Perron. So just outright, he'll be signed. Let's go ahead and do that. He's not looking for the highest offer, which normally isn't that great of a sign. Who else is worth signing here? 5th round picks, 2nd round pick in Rizzy, and he also showed up to have like the highest overall. So I'm thinking Rizzy and Sanderson. Sanderson's Canadian though, so that's not going to happen. We'll sign Rizzy, and we need one other. So let's see, who can be signed? Quincy, Verbata, Visakis, and Lehman. Tough call between really Quincy and Verbata. We're going to go for Verbata, just with Quincy not appearing to have as high of an overall. Of course, it's not set in stone, but still, we're good to go. That brings us to 50 contracts. We have $6 million in cap space. Of course, 3 guys on basically max deals for the sake of being able to call up and send down whom we please. Roberto Luongo, actually, in fairness, won't be called up yet. In the preseason, we're going to run Jaguar and Nash to see what we have with those two. And defensively, it's going to be something similar. I want to see what we have with some of the younger players. So Bronstrom will be sent down. Phaneuf will be sent down. And we'll bump up Kane just to see how close he is. So those will be our 6 defensemen in the preseason. And forward-wise, 10, 11, 12, 13 with Backus. So need to call up at least one player. Wow, okay, we need to call up more than that as we continue to see what some of these guys are rated. So again, we have our 12 there. Let's go ahead and send down the top 3. We'll go with Lackey, Perron, and Clausen. Obviously, very intrigued to see what Clausen is rated. Could be very, very nice for us. Greer, Mason, and we'll bump. Who do we want to bump up here? Yeah, we'll just leave Carpenter in the lineup. That's fine. So we'll confirm that. What the fuck? Are we broken here, EA? Okay, yeah, we might be a little bit broken. Okay. What if I only try to send down? What is even happening? Okay, I think I broke it. Let's try that again. Maybe, if I'm allowed. It's really weird. What the hell? Okay, what if I back out? I'm super weirded out by this, but okay. Let's go back into roster moves and try that again. Maybe it'll work this time. Or not, because it glitched out and it already sent them down. Neat. So that's why it wouldn't work. It technically went through and glitched itself out while not showing that it had gone through, as you would expect. Right. So, as far as everything else is concerned, the trade block, let's just go ahead and empty this out so that we don't get spammed with offers. I will set up scouting. Probably off screen though, because I don't feel like pausing the video now, and we'll just let the scouts do their thing. We're only going to sim about a month and a half into the season, more than likely, just to kind of get an early look at what the team is looking like. And in fairness, that's good to go. We don't have to worry about setting that up beyond that. I mean, really, scouting shouldn't be that difficult. Oh my god, the menu lag. Jesus, Typalis is number 1. That's good to know. At least he is right now. Let me go to assign scout. This game's acting very strange right now. I'm just going to throw that out there. So, scouting-wise, what do we have? So, we have a team in each NHL region. That's perfect. AHL, we need an AHL Pacific. Who's better in the Pacific? The answer is Glenn Rupp. So, we'll move you over there. AHL, no. Let's not do that. Let's do that instead. Beautiful. And then as far as everything else is concerned, 1 for each U.S. region, 1 for each Canadian League, and a couple of scouts. We have too many in the SHL, of course, though. So we have Liga, NLA, and German. So we technically need a Russian scout, and that'll be Tuomainen. Go ahead and send him out there. Of course, I had it set up where I didn't have to worry about our scouts. We were pretty much good to go, and I just had to keep the same staff. But I done goofed when I forgot about setting things up again. So, Russia, Finland, Swiss, and German. Is there anything else we want to worry about? The Extra Liga is a bit of a concern. Let's move Franzen over to the Extra Liga. And with that, we're pretty much good. The only thing we won't have scouted, basically, is which is the Austrian EBEL. So with that, we are looking good. Let's go ahead and sim through the preseason. Get a little bit of an early look at what some of the new boys are going to be looking like in that early confirmation on who is going to be making this team. I would expect things over the first month and a half to change, of course, as we continue to see the continued developments of some of our players. Just like to say the word continue and continued. Of course, that's really all that was about. But we'll see how we do here. Obviously not that worried about the preseason record. It is what it is. I'm obviously very excited, though. A new era for sure. Someone like Klassen, how well has he done? Well, that's the answer. We went 5-2 in the preseason. Klassen had 12 points in 7 games. I cannot wait to see how good he is. This is going to be tremendous. How good is he? Oh boy, this could be something special. He could indeed be something special. It's already confirmed he has a 5-star shooting category. So goaltending wise, Nash. And okay, so Nash at high fringe is interesting. Jaguar will have to wait and see. Now, if Jaguar turns out to not be that good, what I'm going to do is pair him with a 7th for another 7th. So basically, I'm going to give him away for nothing. If I'm going to dump from now on, if I'm going to dump somebody that was a risk signing onto an AI team, I'm pretty much going to do it for nothing and make it as a loss to us. Aside from them having to take the roster spot. So we'll see how that shapes up. Defensively, Hatainen might be worth keeping there. Damn. So we'll send down those first 3. It's going to be interesting to see what this AHL roster looks like. We'll bump up Bronstrom and send down Eklund. So I think that's going to be our starting 6. And in terms of what this roster's looking like, I think I'm just going to bump up Dion Phaneuf as the 7th. And then, yeah, we do have a couple of extra defensemen signed, but that's okay. At least that way we can go best of the best. And then forward-wise, this is going to be interesting to see what this roster looks like. I don't think we're going to be listed as rebuilders for that much longer. 10, 11, 12 with Bembridge and Dubé. So Stelio at about a 78 is worth keeping. We'll bump up Reeves and Backus just to make sure if we go best lines, we don't have to take them out every time. And the roster's going to be looking pretty damn good. It's a new era, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to be terrible. We're going to take Ryan Reeves out of the lineup for obvious reasons, and we're going to put in Carpenter. Let's get Carpenter into the lineup. So what we're looking at here, more than likely, it's kind of a tough call until we know for sure just how good some of these guys are. But I think I want Robertson on a higher line. So perhaps, who's the better center? Carpenter, Stelio, Tuck isn't a terrible way to go. There's a decent chance Carpenter and Tuck both get dealt. Mainly Tuck. I mean, the fact that we're looking at having to play him on the 4th line is kind of rough as it is. 3rd line, I guess to start, will be Robertson, Mason, and Goldobin. And from there, it's kind of a tough call. What if we put... Actually, is a tough call. What if we bump up Roach? Can Klassen or Dwyer play center? Dwyer might be able to... Or Klassen might be able to play center. Who's the better center here? Glass. Maybe Dwyer, Klassen, Roach, Lackey, Glass, Suzuki. At least until we see what the finalized overalls are. And then defensively, that is not a terrible shout. Again, we'll base it off of these incomplete overalls for now. Subban, if we go best lines, is listed as the starter over Luongo, which isn't a great sign for how good Luongo is at this point in time, but it's still not, it's not the end of the world. Havlat a medium starter. Let's wait to see how good Havlat is compared to Nash. although Nash looks to be the higher overall already, which is pretty promising. Defensively, we need to take out Chris Casto, and let's bring in Bobrovsky until we see how good he is. And forward-wise, is there anybody like that we need to take out of the lineup? Indeed, there is. Tyler Wong will be out for Fabian Perron. And we'll leave it like that for the moment. At least until we see how good these guys are, and then we'll cycle them out if necessary. So the team is set for the early stages of this new season. I'm excited to see how this goes. We'll name captains and everything at the end of this initial sim period. I want to see how some of these guys do. Play for your right to be named captain. And like I said, I think the roster changes aren't exactly done when you look at what we can do with guys like Tuch and Carpenter and maybe even a Shea Theodore, even though moving Shea Theodore at this point would certainly hurt our defense. But losing someone like an Alex Tuch, I really don't think that would be all that detrimental. As Carpenter goes down to injury, he's going to be out for 2 weeks. So we will go ahead and put Ryan Reeves into the lineup. I'm sure that's who replaced him. And again, having someone like Reeves there and David Backes as the healthy scratches, it's mainly so that we don't have to worry about it. And again, it's better for the AHL setup, I would say. Player morale, what are we dealing with? Clausen, oh boy, confirmed as an 84, by the way. And he looks to be a little bit cocky. Yeah, good work, buddy. Proud of you. Yeah, calm demeanor. Haig, not too proud of your performance, buddy. I know you have it in you. You're good. Don't worry about it. There we go. See, me and Nick Haig, we go back. Rebuilding Hockeytown days. We see eye to eye on certain things. He's a channel legend, damn it. I know how to deal with channel legends. He knows. He's seen it before. We can find success together. He just has to trust me. As Rizzy goes down to injury. Unfortunately, we're not exactly lighting the world on fire in terms of our success thus far. Carpenter's going to be pissed because I'm not putting him back into the lineup. But I do want to get through these next 2 games. Rizzy might be pissed as well for being a scratch, but it is what it is. As we just need to get through this game against Calgary. It's a 2-1 loss. We finished the opening month at 5-7. So not ideal, but it's still very early days. As Goldobin's a point-a-game player. Jesus, I'm intrigued to see what all of these guys look like. We are going to start off with the goaltending. I'm not seeing anything. Dwyer being an 88. Subban at an 81. Luongo at a 79. Both have been dreadful thus far. We have Kapainen at a 75. Hovland at a 70. All right. I am going to want to get confirmation on Nash and Jaguar. So we'll set that up in a moment. Defensively, Theodore at an 85, Bronson at an 81, Haig an 80, Wu and Norton 79, Hatainen a 78. It's not bad. It's not bad. And then down in the AHL, we see some of the other numbers, someone like Eklund and Kane making some progress. So, the defense, there's still some promise to it, mainly with Horton and Hatainen. And then forward-wise, Dwyer's an 88. I know you guys are going to want to see Clausen, but Dwyer first and foremost. At 21, he was a third-round pick, man. Absolute monster. And then Russell Clausen's an 84. He already has 11 points this season as you get a look at his attributes. And again, right now he's listed as a sniper, which is probably accurate. Let's say that's accurate. Cody Glass at an 84 as you get a look at his attributes. Elijah Lackey, who was the number 2 pick, is listed as a sniper, and rightfully so. He's also fast as hell. Oh my god, 6 goals already. Lackey and Clausen. It's not even fair. And then Goldobin's leading the team in points. He was the 3rd pick, listed as a playmaker, rightfully so. Wow. So Lackey, Clausen, and Goldobin. That's crazy. And you got Roach, Suzuki, Mason, who was the 8th pick. Also looking pretty damn good. Hell of a shot for a power forward. Damn, you want to talk about maybe, just having a team of snipers. The good thing is Tucker's rebounded back to an 81. 3 points, which, considering the line he was on, actually isn't all that bad. Dylan Dubé, up to an 80. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. That's conflicting. That creates a little bit of a problem where, I mean, I'm sure it's a little bit due to the morale system, but still, that does cause a little bit of a conflict with what I had planned for this lineup and whether or not we do look to move an Alex Tuch. I wouldn't want to drop a Stelio, but having like Ryan Carpenter as a healthy scratch might not be the bad way to go. That definitely causes some issues for me. If we go best lines here at the NHL level, of course we'd want to take out Ryan Reeves. I think the big decision here early on is what do we do with Carpenter and Tuch, and do we just look to move on from them? Stelio's not doing too bad, Robertson's not doing too bad, but there are certainly moves that could be made early on in this season. And then, of course, I still want to see what some of these guys look like down in the AHL, of course. But you know what, here, let's take a look at trade values first, because I think that's the first big decision that we need to make already, is what do we do with Carpenter, what do we do with Tuch? If we look to move them, that'll free up space for some others. Draft pick-wise, no extra picks this year, and we're down a second-round pick. But considering the options that we still have, as it's confirmed, Gervais, Chouinard, Dirksen, and Leonov are all medium elites. Gervais, Chouinard, and Dirksen are both 62s, whereas Leonov is very far away if he's ever going to make it. So looking towards the next season, Kapainen will probably eventually be a backup just for how good he is. Hovland, at this point, I don't think will ever make it. But Kapainen and Nash, actually, it's a tough call as to whether or not Hovland will ever make it. And then Jaguar, unfortunately, he's not looking like he's going to make it. So we definitely do have options in terms of goaltending moving forward. I think if we do any deals for Tuch or anybody else, really, for that matter, the Jaguar will be a tack on just to free up a spot. We don't need 6 goalies anyway. He's never going to play. But that goaltending situation is going to be real interesting. And when you look at Gervais Chouinard, who, in fairness, can't be signed, but Dirksen can be, getting Dirksen some playtime in the AHL might be the best way to go, whereas leaving Leonov, in fairness, leaving them all unsigned, because we can still leave them as unsigned, is a good way to technically have them improve, while Kapainen and Hovland get the playtime in the AHL. So, I'm not against trading Jaguar and keeping everybody else. Nash might not be a focus, though. I think we might still go with Hovland and Kapainen, unless Nash is really looking that good. So, we'll see how the goaltending looks, but obviously the NHL goaltending's not going to be strong. Defensively, you look at someone value-wise like Christie at a medium elite, confirmed at 19. I don't even remember where the hell he was picked. He was a 4th-round pick, so that could be a huge deal for us, but he is a low overall. We're looking good. Right now, it's definitely a matter of just those prospect factory qualities, that efficiency, that ruthlessness in terms of getting rid of certain players. But you look at the core of this team up front now, things are about to pick up. If we only had the goaltending, Dwyer's the only one that's in need of a big-time contract within the next 2 to 3 years. So we're looking good. Like I said, draft pick-wise, we're going to have the ability to recoup, especially if we do move someone like a Tuch. So I want to know from you guys, what do you think we should do in the interim? Do we look to move on from some of our players early on? But now that you have a look at what the future of this franchise is looking like, how are you feeling about our odds, not only in this season, but in the seasons to come, in terms of finding success? I'm intrigued to know. That'll do it for this one. Next episode, we pretty much sim all the way through. I don't really expect this to be a playoff team just due to our weaker defense and goaltending, but we'll see what happens. Maybe we make the playoffs. Maybe the next episode we sim all the way through. Ends up being a draft episode as well. Time will tell. For now, you know the deal. Support the video. Support the channel. Notification bells. Check out everything in the description. I'm looking forward to that feedback. Until next time, have a good one. Take it easy. Goodbye.